Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is Thursday, it's June 7th, 2012. I'm looking at some U.S. markets today, and maybe the gold chart as well. Main thing to draw your attention to here is the major sell signals that we're seeing showing up now, and that's an important piece of the puzzle there. We talked about that yesterday, telling you what the Fed was likely to do and what we expected the market to do after that news became apparent. And it was clearly what was right. That's exactly what happened today. We saw the market rally a bit, and then the Fed didn't actually say, hey, we're going to start QE3 tomorrow. So the market just said, hey, never mind. We'll just kind of back off a little bit here. And that's giving you this shooting star formation on the Dow Jones Industrial Average short-term chart. There's a couple of different things you got to look at this chart about. First thing I would point out is this shooting star signal here is a sell signal. It's typically, you want to wait for confirmation. That's why it's a black arrow instead of a blue arrow. You want confirmation. The following day should be a little bit lower than today's low. If that doesn't happen, I wouldn't take the position. But if it does start to move on the downside, I would start shorting. And the main thing here beyond that would be the fact that, like I said, you don't have a shooting star signal here. You do here, which tells you that sell pressure is increasing. If you don't have it before and you have it now, then that's telling you that sell pressure is increasing. You also know from another reason, the fact that you have this high point here, lower high, and a lower high. That tells you, again, buy pressure is weak and sell pressure is growing stronger. So with that in play, you know that the overall trend remains down. You can clearly see that anyway. Lower series of highs, lower series of lows. There's no argument here. It's the true direction of this market. It's nothing more than a counter trend bounce. We're looking for a sell signal here, which is the shooting star signal with confirmation. That's what we want. Intraday, you saw some interesting activity, and this is the thing that to me makes it just crystal clear that you want to be selling this market. Intraday, we saw the price activity was actually way up here, but during that time, you can see that you had this higher close here, and if it had closed intraday higher at this level, you still would have been trending down. Yet the corresponding time period in the ultimate oscillator during that time period intraday showed that the ultimate oscillator was up above 70. So when you're up above 70, that's when you get into your sell position. More importantly, it would give you a series of low point here, higher low here, high point here, higher high here, and higher high here. It would show an uptrend here. That would be forming a bearish divergence, telling you the rally is not sustainable to begin with. So it doesn't even matter if this sell signal starts confirming tomorrow or just starts pushing, the market starts pushing higher again. It won't matter because the end result will still be a bearish divergence, which is going to be another one of these little setups right like that. And that's going to give you an opportunity to sell it because the entire thing is going to get erased. It wouldn't even matter if you were to break out above this high, if we were to somehow get some kind of news and start to rally real sloppily. It wouldn't matter because this would still give you a higher ultimate oscillator and you'd still have this high close here to contend with. And as long as price stays below this level here, there's no way that you're going to be reversing this from a downtrend to an uptrend, not at this particular point in time. So we're looking for a sell opportunity. That's the most important element. Also, you will find this same thing shown on the S&P 500. So let's look at that. The SPX, the S&P 500, has given us again another shooting star signal here, and that's telling us the same thing we were expecting to find there. More selling to come here, and a lower series of highs as well. And again, even if we were to break out of this previous high here, we'd still end up with a bearish divergence formation. So there's nothing that we can actually look at this and say, yes, this is a good buying opportunity. No, in fact, it's not. As I said yesterday, if you were a buyer in this time period or this time period, that was fine, but you did not want to chase these markets higher beyond that point because you no longer had the edge or the advantage of that bullish divergence formation that we talked about last Friday and earlier this week as well. So if you took advantage of that, it's great. You should have advanced your stop. Your stop is now at the low point of today's candlestick formation, real tight stop right there, if you hadn't already taken your profits when you got up close to this previous high. No matter how you do it, like I said, any move to the upside here would be forming a bearish divergence, something that you wouldn't be selling, wouldn't be telling you that this market's rallying. It would be telling you that it's rallying into an unsustainable state and will be erased. So all of this doesn't really matter. We're still looking at a major downtrend that you want to be looking for short opportunities for. Also, if we look now at gold chart, we can see that the Fed also did a lot of damage to the gold chart. Looking now at the gold chart, you can see that, well, last week we talked about this rally point here. putting the downtrend into question, where you had a situation where you had broken a series of high points. You had this high point here, and now you have a higher high here. However, I told you I wouldn't be a buyer at that particular point because you were up there above the 70 line there on the ultimate oscillator. It's typically where you start to find sell points, and so that's not where I want to be doing my buying. We moved sideways for a couple of days, and then we had an intra-period move to the upside here, and then of course it sold off, and now we've started moving lower. Yesterday I could have marked that with a black arrow, the shooting star formation there as a black arrow, and said, okay, you could be shorting it if the following day was a lower low. I didn't do that. You could have. I mean, if any of you guys have been following us for any length of time, you know how to do this already. But today you have confirmation of that move to the downside, so we've now marked it with a blue arrow and stop loss limit 1 cent above this previous day's high here. So this is the trade we look at on the gold side. If we get any move here within this range right here, any move within there, we'll be looking to short that, and we'll be looking to take a test of this previous low. Where you find this resistance is also important. We talked about this as well. The fact that you found resistance where you have previous support makes perfect sense to us. You had support here, you had support here, you had support here, you closed below support. Support begins to then act as resistance. That's exactly what you saw right here. That makes perfect sense. This chart is still in a clearly defined downtrend. It had a counter trend bounce that looked a little like it might turn it around to a bullish move, but in fact doesn't do it. And now we go back to our downtrend. We start testing those lows. If you've not been to our free website at perfectstockalert.com, it's right there. It's 100% free, and all we ask in return, please refer a friend, aka share our videos online. I don't even care if you make money with a website that has our videos on there. I don't care. Just share them. God bless. Take care. See you in the next video. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.